There is a common belief that purpose is always somewhere far away, that the things we are meant to do is hidden in some distant places, waiting for us to discover it. But the older I get, the more I realize that sometimes purpose is much closer than we think. Sometimes it is hidden inside a family story. Sometimes it is buried in the dream of a parent. Sometimes it is waiting inside the unfinished work of a grandparent. And perhaps that is why this episode is different. Because before I tell you how I entered fashion, I need to tell you about a woman whose story began decades before mine, my maternal grandmother. Long before I was born, my grandmother was a tailor. Not because she had no option, but because she was raised to be industrious. Her father was a successful cocoa merchant who lost his wife and had to raise 2 daughters alone. My grandmother was the younger of the 2 girls. As they grew up, both daughters were trained to work. My grandmother learned tailoring and ashoke weaving and became very skilled at both. She built a thriving business around them and combined that with helping to manage her father's cocoa enterprise. Eventually, she married and started her own family. She had 2 daughters and continued building a tailoring business. But tragedy struck when she lost her husband at a relatively young age. As a young widow with children, the pressure to remarry became intense. Eventually, she married my maternal grandfather, who happened to be a king. According to the stories she told us and the account of others who were there, when my grandmother arrived at the palace, she didn't come alone. She came with 8 workers, 8 people working under her, 8 people helping her to weave ashoke and produce garments. And whenever I think about that today, I am amazed because this was many decades ago, long before social media, long before entrepreneurship became fashionable, long before women were being celebrated for building businesses. Yet here was my grandmother, already creating jobs and building a fashion enterprise. But life does not always move according to our plans. The realities of polygamy, palace politics, rivalry among the wives, and a lack of support from her husband gradually began to suffocate the business, until eventually the business she had built disappeared completely. The dream died. At least that's what everyone thought. Years later, my grandmother became old and frail. Age brought sickness and eventually dementia. And because I spent a lot of time around her, I often helped to take care of her. There was something I noticed during those years. Even when she forgot names, even when she forgot places, even when she confused her children with people from decades earlier, there were certain stories she never forgot. One of them was her tailoring business. Again and again she would tell the story. How she learned the trade, how she